My 38 male wife, 34 female, has been cheating on me for more than a year with her childhood love, after me helping her through her depression for over a year. However, I felt driven to share what I had learned. I am not using my true identity for this. I've spoken about it with close friends and family members, but I'm hoping to receive some insight and advice from this forum as well. I'm well aware that the Reddit community may serve as a safe refuge for those in need. So, let's get started. The two of us have been together for 16 years and have been married for almost 6 years. We have two very little children, younger than 6 years old. The previous 2 years have been spent dragging her through a depressive state of mind. She hasn't had an easy upbringing, and there have been occasions when she has had some of her worst fantasies come true. But we were always able to make it through. Our wedding day was amazing, and we were completely in love with one another. The birth of our second child, though, marked the beginning of her transformation. She is regressing to her teenage state. Dark, gloomy, and irritated is the mood. I was a bit late in seeing this since I was busy with our children for the most of the time. As well as having a chat with her, she first denied everything, stating that she was just fatigued and that the burden of life had become too much for her to bear. However, as time went on, she started to decline rapidly. Approximately a year ago, she confessed to having suicide thoughts. Because of our children, she decided not to go through with them, and I took it upon myself to continue aiding her in this matter, accepting a portion of the responsibility for her predicament. I sought help from a psychologist and worked hard to maintain my composure. We had a discussion regarding the direction in which our relationship was heading a while ago. There were times when we were having a great time, and then there were others when we couldn't even talk to one another. She stated at that moment that she was dissatisfied and that she did not want to continue in our relationship. As a result, it was my first hit, and it was a difficult one. There are a slew of thoughts racing through my head at the moment. She is depressed and worried about her children, our house, my future, and her future. We discussed, argued, and came to some practical conclusions. That is, up until a little over a week ago. I couldn't help but wonder what had happened to force her to feel the need to forsake her children and her husband. I approached her and inquired as to if there was anybody else. This is the most difficult aspect of the process for me, and apart from some ideas from friends and family, I'm at a loss for what to do. I discovered that she was having an affair with another guy who was also married and had a little child who was born during the affair with my wife. Despite how tough everything seemed, I decided to look into it. And this guy is someone she had a relationship with throughout her teens. This was also a period in her life when she was in a very dark place, and he pursued her for a period of time. It seems that he never gave up, that he located her in a vulnerable position, and that he immediately started taking advantage of her situation. I'm not looking for a redeeming quality to bring our marriage back together. That is no longer a possibility for me. I'm looking for ways to process this for myself, as well as ways to break his hold on her so that it doesn't have a negative impact on our children. He has deceived her, has no intention of building a relationship with her, and is just interested in having with her for the time being. He doesn't speak to her since he has to complete the project on time, but she is available to him. Her suffering is exacerbated when he refuses to notice her. Her joy is heightened when he does. Actually, this is not the case, yet it seems to be such. For the time being, we're still living together while trying to do all of the required steps to dissolve our marriage and relocate. In order to cope with this, I need a way to confront him about the fact that he is feeding her despair, that he has come to our house, and that he has been abusing my wife for more than a year. Update. My heart is racing with fear as I anticipate what is about to happen. I'm worried that I won't be able to trust anybody, or that I won't be able to give everyone a fair chance. I realize it has only been a few days since everything occurred, but I need a way of planning for the future. Now it's just a matter of taking each day as it comes, and things are getting better by the day. I'd never had an issue with low self-esteem until recently. I'm not a particularly ugly individual, and I have a strong mastery of the English language on my side. In addition, I've always had a better connection with women than I have with males. All of my prior relationships, on the other hand, have been with damaged girls and women. For some reason, I have a strong desire to heal them all the time. I want to put an end to this pattern. My self-esteem, on the other hand, has dropped significantly. This is because it seems that I am lacking, that I am unable to meet the demands of others. At the very least, that's how it seems to be. I've always thought that everything was perfect in that sense, but now I'll be calling into question my assumptions whenever the opportunity presents itself. I'm not ready to embark on a new relationship, and I need to prioritize my own well-being. But I'm looking for ways to get out of the hole I dug for myself and out of the situation in which she hurled everything at me, thus trapping me. I'll be speaking with people in person as well, but since I was sent to this site by numerous nice Redditors, it may be beneficial to me in digesting all that's come to mind. Story 2. My wife's emotional affair is about to turn physical. My wife and I are both 32 years old, and we have 2 children. For the last 4 years, we have been married. Due to the fact that she was visiting her parents at the time of the pandemic, we both agreed that it would be better for her to stay at home rather than risk the dangers of traveling during that time. We, along with everyone else, had anticipated that she would only be there for a month or 2, but she ended up staying for around 10 months before being allowed to return. As the lockdown reached its zenith, everyone was only allowed to see a limited number of individuals, and one of her old friends was also kept at his parents' home under the same circumstances, away from his wife and their 2-year-old child. We have no kids. During those months, they became closer to one another. After all of that, upon her return, she told me of his existence, and to be quite honest, I didn't give it much thought. She continued to correspond with him on a regular basis, about every other day or so, and they also chatted often over WhatsApp. However, when I brought it up with her, she assured me that there was nothing to worry about and that I would see a change in her behavior in just a few days and that I should be delighted with her. It was only 45 days ago when her friend's wife contacted me on Facebook, claiming her husband and my wife had been having an emotional affair for quite some time. This was the turning point in their relationship. The chats she provided me with included discussions about leaving us and starting a life together, how they realized they made a mistake by being married to us, and even texts in which they discussed what they would do to one another once they are together. His wife phoned me not only to inform me about the affair, but also to inform me that her husband would be in my city for the next 6 months on a work assignment. Since this is the second time he has walked out on her, his wife has been covertly gathering evidence for their divorce, and she has reached the point where she can no longer fight any longer. I have not yet spoken to my wife about this since I am unclear of how to approach the matter. So, should I just ask her outright? And what if she says no? But what if she decides to accept? That is my biggest concern, and I'm not interested in finding out the solution to it. As a result, I've been delaying my communication with her till the next day. But as my wife informed me this morning, he has finally arrived. It was he who requested her aid in picking furnishings for his new house, and she would accompany him to the furniture store on Friday afternoon. I may be uncertain, but I am not naive. I am aware of the events that are most likely to occur on that particular day. The selfish part of my brain wants to let her go and then go after them, but doing so would be the end of my marriage as we know it. But is it really worth it to try to save my marriage? Is it possible, though, that this is just a dream for her and that she does not actually wish to leave me behind? Honestly, I'm at a loss for what to do. I admire her, but am I falling in love with a photograph of her that isn't real? I'd appreciate any assistance you could provide, since I'm unable to communicate with my friends or family for obvious reasons.